Don't know, agape means unconditional love, the love of God operating through the human heart. I'm glad you took time to join me today, because today I've got an incredible idea. We're going to talk about this thing called the heart. And I know that it's going to hopefully expand your view of what it means to have heart, what it means to live from the heart, to listen to the heart, to speak from the heart. Because I think that's the key to living a fulfilled and joyful life. So before we go into that, let's take a few moments and let's get ourselves centered. So I invite you to get into a comfortable seated upright position with your back straight, your hands gently resting on your lap. Bring your awareness to your breath, consciously breathing in and breathing out. And take that deep breath into your heart center, opening it, and breathe out, purifying it. Again, take a deep breath in and breathe out. Another breath in and a breath out. Another breath in and another breath out. Now I want you to bring your awareness to your heart. And if there is a question that you are asking, maybe it's a question, who am I? What am I doing with my life? What should I be doing with my life? What is my next step? I want you to ask the question and just sit and listen and let your heart birth an answer, a direction, your next step. So consciously begin to breathe in and out of your heart center and listen as you ask this question. Your heart knows your deepest desires, and your heart knows how to guide you to achieve them from a place of love. You have the ability at any time you choose to sit, to be still, to open, to listen to your heart and let it guide you. Guide you to that next step, to creating your most fulfilling, unique, magnificent life that is totally you. And having taken these few moments to listen, know that you can come back here and ask again and ask again. And you'll find that the more you do it, the more that process unfolds, and you will be living a heart-centered life. I want to invite you now to come back to this time, to this place, to this day, to your body, feeling refreshed, rejuvenated, relaxed, and clear. And when you're ready, begin to move ever so gently. And just easily now open your eyes, put a smile on your face, and be fully present. So today, my talk is It Takes Heart. And I got this title because I was watching, again, for I don't know how many times, the movie The Replacements. It's one of my favorite movies with Gene Hackman. I love how he says that he's there and he's with the quarterback that's a replacement quarterback, Shane Falco. And he goes to Shane and he taps him on the, takes a newspaper, I think, or magazine he had in his hand. He taps him on the chest and he says, "It takes heart." And that's the last thing he said to him when he just had told him that he wouldn't be playing in the next game because the quarterback who was the quarterback of the team, who was an all pro, won a Super Bowl, all that, he crossed the picket line. So Falco wouldn't be there. And so it ends up that this guy comes in and he's got all the skills in the world, and yet this team is losing 17-0. And at the halftime interview, the reporter goes up to the Coach McGinty, and says, "What do you got to do?" And he says, "It takes heart. It takes heart." And Shane was listening. He was listening on his boat, and he heard it. And he got in his car and he went down to the stadium and he came in. And needless to say, he came in, went in. It was a movie, of course, and they pulled out that victory because it took heart. And I love that, because when a person is heart-centered, everything is just so much better. So let's look at this from a spiritual perspective. Science of mind teaches that our thoughts create, and when we change our thinking, we change our experience. Ernest Holmes was saying all the time, change your thinking, change your life. You hear everybody say that. Where you put your attention, your energy goes. Where your energy goes, you create a whole new experience. But it's important to really realize that our thoughts and our intellect does not alone create, but rather it is our thoughts combined with our feelings that create. Did you hear the key word there? Feelings. So when you're doing a spiritual mind treatment, that's what we call prayer, because when we talk about prayer, we don't talk about beseeching. We're not asking some being, some power out there. We're actually using the power by making a declaration. And that declaration is not only words, it's thoughts, it's actions, but it has to be aligned with deep feelings. Feelings give power to the thought. And that's critical to understand, because there are many people who practice the science of mind whose lives have not changed. It's not because they're not special or worthy. It's because they're not using the creative law correctly. Did you hear that? The creative law correctly. You see, our heart gives feeling to that which is most important to us. When we listen to our heart and we use the science of mind, the creative process works flawlessly. It is amazing that when you're on a journey, and life is nothing but a journey, and you're in the midst of something and you don't know where to go. You don't know where to go, but you listen to your heart. Your heart will always guide you. I know that in 2004, when I left the corporate world, I could say not by my choice, but it was my choice. I created the exit out of the corporate world. I didn't know what I would do. My whole life centered on the fact that I had been in the corporate world and I was a vice president of marketing, and everything centered around my identity of that. And I mean, I struggled for the first few days. I wondered, what was I going to do? What am I going to do? What am I going to do? And I stopped. And I went into meditation and I opened myself up and I asked my heart, what should I do? And my heart told me really clearly, it's time for you to get a master's degree in consciousness studies. Begin to become a minister. It's time for you to become a spiritual teacher. It's what you've wanted all your life. And I'd forgotten. But I remember that when I was in 8th grade, I can remember Father Scanlon. I was Catholic at that time, and I was at a service, and Father Scanlon was a young new minister. And he got up and he spoke, and I loved the way he leaned in and he talked to people. He wasn't like a typical priest. He talked to people. And I said, I like that. I want to do that. And the next year I went to the seminary. However, that wasn't my path. It wasn't my path at all. I got asked not to come back, and I chose not to come back because here's what was the problem was I asked too many questions. So I buried my spirituality. That was at the age of 16. I buried it until I was 47. And then I started to explore spirituality outside of religious dogma. I knew in my heart spirituality was calling me. I knew in my heart I was a spiritual teacher. I knew in my heart I had something to offer. And so I began the process. I enrolled in the college. I started taking the classes. And when I took the classes for the first time, I enjoyed them. It wasn't like when I went to college. College, I could have cared less. I skipped most of my classes, but I was smart enough to get all B's. Here, I loved what I was doing. My heart was into it. And when your heart's into something, you excel at it. I graduated with like a 3.88 GPA with my master's degree. I loved every second of it. I couldn't get enough because I had the feeling, I had the juice in the situation. And that was what was important. You see, it's not just heart, though. You have to have the vision and then put the heart into it, because you can be totally heart-centered. And I've met many, 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 many people that are totally heart-centered, but they didn't provide a clear mental image of what they wanted. Ergo, nothing changed. So the key thing is, Science of Mind teaches this, you've got to create a clear mental image. You create a mold of what you want. And then you build around that mold, around those words, around those ideas, feelings of love, of joy, of gratitude, of excitement. And now the law, this creative law, takes your mold and begins to create it for your life. And then you keep coming back to that feeling nature. And the more you build that feeling nature with a clear vision, your life just transforms itself into something more than you could even imagine. You see, in religious science, we do what we call spiritual mind treatment. It's a process of shifting our focus. It's about building a new belief within our mind. So when we do a spiritual mind treatment, it doesn't matter if the words are perfect or correct. It's when our words are combined with our deep, heartfelt feelings, along with our commitment and conviction, that we can be assured that our treatment will be and is answered. It's a combination of all that. You see, without feelings, we are creating an empty mold, and we have effectively stopped the creative process from moving forward. Did you get that? If you don't create a clear mold, you've stopped the creative process. If you don't create a clear mold and combine it with feelings, you stop the creative process. If you don't create a clear mold and attach feelings to it and hold it persistently and consistently, you've stopped the creative process. This process is not easy. It takes work. But here's what I've uncovered. It works because it works for me day in and day out. And I know people that I've taught this process to, and it works for them. I know other people who are practicing this. It works for them. Here's a key thing. It doesn't matter what you believe. It matters, do you believe it? And are there feelings behind it? And the creative law gives you that. It doesn't care whether you believe it's good or bad, but whatever you put feeling behind. Think about this. When you start having thoughts that are not growth, they're confining, they're restrictive, they're limiting thoughts, and you've got a lot of fear behind those thoughts. Fear is one of the most powerful feelings you can have. And you attach it to an energy, a mold, you're going to create that. What people don't get is that complaining is a prayer. Because when you complain, chances are there's a lot of feeling behind it, isn't there? You know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about, because I know we have all done it. And we say, why am I getting more of what I'm complaining about? Well, guess what? It's got heart. You see, it's when we commune, unite with our infinite nature, and from here build a new belief in which we align our thoughts, words, actions, and feelings toward a desired result, that the law brings our creation into physical form and experience. So I really want to take a moment and really make this clear for you. Commune and unite, understanding that you are one with the infinite, that your soul and the infinite are one. When you get that you are one and you are using the same power that the infinite used to create, you realize the power is there. And then in Science of Mind, we teach you build that new belief, that new mold, align all of your thoughts, all of your words, all of your actions, and fill your thoughts, your words, and actions with feelings of excitement, of joy, of greatness, of fulfillment, of gratitude. And then hold that image, hold those thoughts, hold those actions, hold those feelings until they become embedded in your subconscious mind. And once it's embedded in your subconscious mind, the demonstration is assured. There is no question that it will happen. I invite people when they're practicing this, start with something small. It doesn't have to be big. Start the process of proving it to yourself. And the more you prove it to yourself, the bigger the challenge you'll take on. But if you don't prove it, it's just a concept. It has no fruit, no meaning. One of the things that I teach people that have been in my classes, I've taught hundreds of people, and here's what I know. Most don't put the feeling in, and they don't hold the feeling persistently and consistently. And so the prayer, the spiritual mind treatment, doesn't have the power to bring it to fruition. See, the power's in you. You've just got to work with the natural law, the way it was created. You see, the key to using the creative process is to become aware of oneness, your oneness with the infinite, and balance your intellect and your feeling nature as you build and hold a clear mental image of what you seek to experience. It's that simple. It takes work. It takes commitment. It takes time. It takes, do you believe it is possible? If you can believe it's possible, it is. Because if you believe it's possible, you've built what? A feeling of inner knowing, a feeling of not just hope, but real knowing that hope that it's going to happen. And when you build that feeling, you start to live as if. And when you're living as if, you're making a statement to the universe. You're assuring to the universe that what you desire will be brought forth into this reality, into your experience now. It's your life. Do you have heart? If not, discover it, invent it, recreate it, reconnect with it, because your heart is the key to your power. I want to thank you for joining me today. And know that if this message touched you, I'm grateful. If this message touched you and you would like to give back, go to the link in the description and make a donation to Agape. Our purpose is to bring this mission to as many people in the world as we possibly can. And your donations help us do that. We are an online worldwide community with a strong local North Texas presence. We understand at this time of life, people are looking for this teaching of self-empowerment. And our job is to bring it to them one by one, as often as we can. And know that you can plug into a lot of the things we offer in Agape, because most everything we offer is online. And if you go to agapespiritualcenter.com, you can click on the calendar or the events tab, and you can find out and plug in. Become a member. Join us. It's a lot more fun connecting with your heart and then connecting with the hearts of others and share the journey of life together. Again, I'm blessed that you are here, and I'm here to serve. If you need support, remember at Agape, we teach you have to ask, because we can't read your minds. No one can read your mind, and you can't read anyone else's. So the key thing to love is to ask when you need support. With that, my friends, make it a great day, and know that you are loved, and it takes heart. Yours, mine, and everyone else's. Until next